Okay, so this video will be focusing on blinds versus button play. I'm going to start quickly with the small blind here. So if you were to refer to the charts, pretty much, well, 100% of the situations against the button raise, we're going to be playing all in or fold. So King 9 suited is one of the weaker hands that we go all in with, but we're not going to do anything else other than all in or fold. Reason for that is pretty simple. If we were to call this bet, then the big blind is given a really good incentive to do squeezes or a good price to call now, to overcall, and then playing out of position in a freeway pot is even harder to do. Or if we're free bet, then it's going to be very hard to continue and we just lose our money here. So for those reasons alone, I would suggest just playing push or fold. There are some regs that will be playing as a call. You don't need to mark everyone who does that instantly as recreational, but for simplicity's sake, I would suggest free bet or fold. Okay, so this time now we're on the big blind and we're facing a raise. If you refer to the big blind versus min raise, button min raise charts, you'll see that there are a bunch of little suit connectors that we free bet here. If you look at the ones that we non-all-in free bet for value and the ones that we non-all-in free bet as a bluff, you will realize that there are quite a lot of bluffing combinations compared to the value. And the reason for this is a slight exploit towards not just the recreational players, but also some of the regs here. So if you're playing against a reg, often what will happen is when we make the free bet, they will be folding quite a lot because they've decided, okay, he's got a very premium strong hand, especially if they realize you're a reg. So they fold a lot. But also, if they do call, they normally cap their range horrendously because it's very unlikely for these players to slow play some of their stronger hands. Normally they just go, okay, well, this guy's got a strong hand, I'm just going to go all in. So when they do call, you're often able to push them out of the pot by the time you go all in. So sometimes they call the flop, but once you've bet or barreled a turn, you get to take it down. Now with recreationals, it's kind of the opposite. They often raise too much from the button, and then when you free bet, they call too much from the button. And because they've got such a wide range, it's going to be very hard for them to continue. But often they will call the flop. And by the time it's the turn, you can just shove all in and you get way more folds than you actually should do. Because they've called way too wide on the versus your free bet and way too wide on the flop. So once you've finally put all the chips in, they're going to be put in loads of tough spots where they've got either bottom or middle pair, no kicker, and all sorts of stuff like that, or they've got draws, and they just fold. So if you notice that they call really wide, just make a note. Basically, either mark them as recreational or mark them as whale. I would recommend having a marker for someone who's incredibly bad, so you never put bluffs in. If they're a massive station, then you wouldn't be bluffing these at all. But generally, population-wise, if you just free bet and barrel nearly every board, I would say not to barrel boards that have a jack, a queen, or a king on them, because those are the types of boards that they call the free bet with, and then they can hit stuff like top pair, and they won't be folding that, and for good reason. But on all the other board textures, if it's ace high, if there's no jack, queen, or king on the flop, I would just bet and barrel and go all in, and you'll notice that by the time you go all in, you get so many folds, and your red line is going to go through the roof. I really wouldn't be too worried about people finding an exploit to this, because you do have those very strong hands of pocket jacks, pocket queens, pocket kings, and pocket aces. It doesn't happen so often, so don't worry about it. It's just a little cheeky secret exploit that we're going to give to you. Start looking at post flop. We've got jack 3 suited here. We're a little bit shorter than normal. We are 12, 13-ish big blinds, deep 14 big blinds. We've got jack 3. We're going to call. We want to see a flop. And we flop the top pair here. Now, if you want to make donk bets, this would be the kind of board to do it. But in this course, I'm going to teach you to just play a check only strategy. It doesn't change too much, and we're also kind of taking advantage of button tendencies in these games. What seems to happen in these games is they are c-betting the wrong boards for the wrong frequencies. So boards like this, that I think they're going to c-bet a little bit too much. So we're going to be taking advantage of that, and depending on the size that this guy would make it, we would either just straight up go all in, or we would make a call. So if they bet more than 60 chips or more than 55 chips, really, I'll just go straight all in here. You need to protect your jack. So we check, but they check back. So our top pair has now seen pretty ugly turn card here. So any 8 is now a straight, and some flush draws completed, but still we do have top pair. We don't want to stack off for sure, but we probably need to stick around for at least one street. I think we got to call this. What other hands would we be calling here? A pair with a heart, an 8 with a heart. If I just had a bare 8, I would just go all in, because my opponent can have lots of heart draws and things that have good equity against me. They could also have a queen or even a king that could get better straights against me, so I would just shove the 8s. But if you had a heart to go with it, and a decent heart, let's say you had queen 8 with the queen of hearts, I would definitely consider just calling and letting them bluff a little bit more. However, we've got just the jack, and this is one of the worst hands that we call. And then if we face another bet on the river, we're just going to fold. So we check, and if they bet anything more than 40 chips, I think we got to fold. Luckily for us, they check behind, and we take it down against ace 9. Kind of a weird bet from him with the ace 9. I guess it's kind of protection against heart draws, but I wouldn't really be noting it down at all. So this is a similar spot, but we're a little bit deeper now. 25 big blinds deep, facing a raise, and we call. This time, however, we flop a bottom pair. As I said before, we're always going to be checking on the big blind. So we do. And we face a bet of 40 chips, a bit larger than what we would do. We would bet 30 chips, but still completely reasonable. So we've got to decide what hands would we continue here, and in what way would we continue them with. So I think if we have any pair whatsoever, we want to be continuing. If we had a hand like 4-5 suited, we would want to continue. If we had a hand like 6-5 suited, we'd want to continue. Or even 6-5 offsuit, want to continue. Some of our 2-pair type hands, so